The crimson dust of Xylos Prime, finer than powdered rust, swirled with an almost sentient malice, a perpetual shroud over a world where dreams had turned to skeletal husks. It was a place where the wind whispered tales of forgotten wars, of the Kryll dominion's hubris, and the cold, unyielding silence that followed. Above, the twin suns Xylo and Xylo Minor cast a harsh ochre light, painting the desolate landscape in shades of rust and shadow, a macabre masterpiece of desolation. Zara Kael, her visor reflecting the twin suns like fractured amber, stood at the precipice of a shallow crater, her gaze fixed on the wreckage below. The Aethelred, a once proud warship of the Kryll, lay half buried in the crimson dust, its hull a grotesque patchwork of scorched alloys and gaping voids. It was a monument to a technological ambition that had overreached, a testament to the Kryll's obsession with perfection, and their subsequent inability to accept anything less. The ship's silhouette, even in its ruined state, spoke of a design philosophy alien to human eyes. Its lines were organic, almost flowing, as if the ship had been grown rather than built. The Kryll, it was said, had mastered the art of bioengineering, weaving living systems into the very fabric of their technology. But the Aethelred was a stark reminder that even perfection could fracture, that even the most resilient systems could succumb to the unforgiving crucible of space. Zara's breath hitched, a silent gasp lost in the static of her comms. It wasn't the toxic atmosphere of Xylos Prime that stole her breath, nor the oppressive heat that radiated from the sun-baked dust. It was the sheer audacity of the Kryll's design, the intricate network of organic circuitry that pulsed beneath the ship's ravaged hull, the enigmatic void matter reactors that lay dormant, their power contained, but not extinguished. It was a technological puzzle, a riddle whispered in the language of the stars. Damn, she muttered, her voice a low growl that echoed in the solitude of her helmet. Just damn! Around her, the skeletal remains of other ships littered the landscape, the ghosts of forgotten battles, the detritus of a war that had reshaped the very face of Xylos Prime. These were the husks of Kryll destroyers, their sleek forms twisted and broken, their once imposing weapons now silent sentinels of a bygone era. But the Aethelred was different. It wasn't just another casualty of war, it was a relic, a whispered legend, a ship that had defied the very laws of Kryll engineering. Zara's crew, a motley collection of scavengers, engineers, and tech whisperers, had dubbed the Aethelred the Widowmaker. It was a name whispered with a mix of awe and dread, a moniker earned through a history of catastrophic failures and unexplained disappearances. It was said that the ship was cursed, that it devoured its crews and spat out broken dreams, that its organic systems had turned malignant, feeding on the life force of those who dared to venture within. The Kryll, a species obsessed with perfect self-repairing systems, had abandoned the Aethelred, deeming it irreparable, a stain on their otherwise flawless record. But Zara, with her keen eyes and her innate understanding of broken things, saw not a cursed relic, but a challenge, a canvas for her radical approach to ship design. She believed in adaptive engineering, a philosophy that prioritized modularity, field repairability, and the ability to coax life back into dead technology. All right, listen up. Zara's voice crackled over the comms, cutting through the wind's mournful howl. They called it broken, we'll call it a starting point. Her crews, scattered across the crater's rim, exchanged wary glances. They knew Zara's reputation, her knack for finding potential where others saw only scrap. They also knew the risks, the whispers of the Aethelred's dark history, the tales of crews lost to its labyrinthine corridors. But they trusted Zara, her unwavering belief in the power of ingenuity, her ability to see the beauty in the broken. Rex, what's the sensor reading on the void matter reactors? Zara asked, her eyes scanning the ship's ravaged hull. Still dormant, Captain. A gruff voice replied, the tone laced with skepticism. But there's residual energy readings fluctuating, unstable, I'd say. Unstable is an understatement. A younger voice interjected, the tone nervous. Those reactors are supposed to be self-regulating, fail-safe. If they're fluctuating like that, they're a ticking time bomb. Zara finished, her voice flat. Which is why we're going to treat them with the respect they deserve. She turned to Jian Li, the team's xenobiologist, his face obscured by his helmet, his eyes wide with a mixture of fascination and apprehension. Jian, what about the organic circuitry? Any signs of activity? Minimal, Captain, Jian replied, his voice tinged with excitement. But there's something, a faint bioluminescence deep within the hull. It's almost as if the ship is still alive in a way. Alive? Rex scoffed. More like undead. That thing's a graveyard, Jian, a graveyard of dreams. Perhaps, Jian countered, his voice thoughtful. But even graveyards can hold secrets, Captain, secrets that could change everything. Zara nodded, her gaze returning to the Aethelred. She saw not a graveyard but a puzzle, a challenge, a chance to prove that even the most advanced technology could be adapted, repurposed, reborn. The Kryll had built their ships to be perfect, to be self-sustaining, to be immune to failure, but they had failed to account for the unpredictable nature of space, the relentless wear and tear of time, the inherent fragility of even the most complex systems. "All right, team," Zara said, her voice filled with a newfound determination. "Let's get to work. Rex, set up a perimeter scan for any residual threats. Jian, I want you to start analyzing the organic circuitry, see if you can find any way to interface with it. The rest of you start mapping the interior, identify any salvageable components." The crew moved with a renewed sense of purpose, their initial apprehension replaced by the thrill of the challenge. They were scavengers, explorers, engineers, driven by a thirst for knowledge, a desire to push the boundaries of what was possible. And the Aethelred, the Widowmaker, the cursed relic of the Kryll, was their canvas, their proving ground. As the suns dipped below the horizon, casting long eerie shadows across the crimson dust, Zara stood alone, her gaze fixed on the ship's ravaged hull. She knew the risks, the dangers that lurked within its labyrinthine corridors, the whispers of the crews lost to its dark embrace, but she also knew the potential, the secrets that lay hidden within its alien systems, the chance to rewrite the rules of ship design. "We're going to make you fly again, Widowmaker," she whispered, her voice a promise carried on the wind. "We're going to make you sing a new song." The crimson dust swirled around her, a silent witness to her vow, a promise made in the heart of a graveyard, a promise that would soon echo across the stars. The harsh ochre light of Xylos Prime's twin suns gave way to the cold, stark glow of artificial illumination as Zara and her team began their initial exploration of the Aethelred. Inside the ship was a labyrinth of twisted metal and alien technology, a testament to the Kryll's unique and unsettling architectural style. The corridors, once sleek and flowing, were now choked with debris, their surfaces scarred and blackened by the ravages of war and time. Zara, leading the way, moved with a cautious determination, her plasma cutter humming softly in her grip. The air inside the ship was thick with the metallic tang of decay and the faint, unsettling hum of residual energy. Despite the damage, there was a sense of eerie stillness, a feeling that the ship was holding its breath, waiting to be awakened. "Rex, keep an eye on those readings," Zara instructed, her voice echoing through the empty corridors. "Anything out of the ordinary, I want to know about it." "Aye, Captain," Rex replied, his voice gruff. "But I'm tellin' you, this place gives me the creeps, feels like we're walking through a giant metal skeleton." "Just focus on the task at hand," Zara said, her eyes scanning the walls, searching for any signs of the organic circuitry that Jian had detected. They moved deeper into the ship, passing through what appeared to be a command center, its consoles shattered, its holographic displays reduced to flickering ghosts. They found a series of stasis chambers, their occupants long since turned to dust, their forms preserved in the crystalline residue of their life support systems. The ship was a museum of death, a silent testament to the Kryll's failure. Finally, they reached the engine room, a vast chamber dominated by the massive dormant void matter reactors, the reactors encased in a network of intricate conduits and shimmering energy fields pulsed with a faint rhythmic glow, a subtle reminder of their latent power. "These things are massive," Rex muttered, his eyes wide with awe. "I've never seen anything like it." "They're designed to tap into the energy of subspace," Jian explained, his voice filled with a mixture of fascination and apprehension. "The Kryll believed they had perfected the art of harnessing void matter, but they were wrong," Zara finished, her voice flat. "That's why we're here, Jian, to learn from their mistakes." She turned her attention to the walls of the engine room, where the organic circuitry was more visible, pulsing with a faint bioluminescent glow. The circuitry, a network of tendrils and nodes, resembled a living organism, its intricate structure defying human understanding. "This is it," Zara said, her voice filled with a sense of wonder. "This is what we need to work with." "Work with?" Rex scoffed. "You mean fix?" "Captain, this ain't like fixin' a busted engine, this is alive. It's like trying to fix a plant with a wrench." "Exactly," Zara said, her eyes gleaming with excitement. "And that's why we're not going to use a wrench, we're going to use something else." She turned to Jian, her eyes filled with a spark of inspiration. "Jian, you said the circuitry is still active, right? Minimal but active?" "Yes, Captain," Jian replied, his voice thoughtful. "There's a faint energy flow, a residual communication network. It's almost as if the ship is still trying to repair itself." "Then we're going to help it," Zara said, her voice filled with a newfound determination. We're going to give it the tools it needs to heal. Tools? Rex asked, his brow furrowed. What kind of tools? Living tools, Zara replied, her eyes gleaming with excitement. We're going to create symbiotic organisms genetically engineered to interface with the Kryll circuitry to repair and enhance it. A stunned silence fell over the engine room. Rex stared at Zara, his mouth agape, his eyes wide with disbelief. Jian, however, was nodding thoughtfully, his mind already racing with the possibilities. Symbiotic organisms? Jian repeated, his voice filled with a mixture of fascination and apprehension. Captain, that's a radical approach. I've never heard of anything like it. That's because it's never been done, Zara said, her voice filled with a quiet confidence. The Kryll believed in perfection in self-repairing systems, but they failed to account for the adaptability of life, the power of symbiosis. We're going to show them what they missed. But, Captain, Rex stammered, his voice filled with skepticism. Bugs? You want to fix a warship with bugs? Not just any bugs, Rex, Zara said, her voice filled with a hint of amusement. Genetically engineered symbiotic organisms designed to interface with the Kryll circuitry to repair and enhance it. They'll be like living repair drones working from the inside out. Living repair drones? Jian repeated, his eyes gleaming with excitement. Captain, that's brilliant! We could engineer them to secrete enzymes that break down damaged tissue to weave new connections to even enhance the circuitry's processing power. Exactly, Zara said, her voice filled with enthusiasm. We'll create a living network, a symbiotic ecosystem within the ship's systems, a self-repairing, self-sustaining system that will be far more resilient than anything the Kryll could have imagined. But, Captain, Rex interjected, his voice still laced with skepticism. This is crazy even for you. Crazy enough to work, Zara said, her voice filled with a quiet confidence. We're not going to try to force our technology onto the Kryll systems. We're going to adapt, to integrate, to create something new, something that takes the best of both worlds. She turned to Jian, her eyes filled with a spark of inspiration. Jian, I want you to start working on the design for these symbiotic organisms. We'll need to analyze the Kryll circuitry, identify the key proteins and enzymes, and then engineer our organisms to interface with them. We'll need to create a symbiotic relationship, a mutually beneficial exchange of energy and information. Yes, Captain, Jian replied, his voice filled with enthusiasm. I'll start immediately. We'll need to set up a lab, analyze the circuitry, and then begin the genetic engineering process. Good, Zara said, her voice filled with satisfaction. Rex, I want you to start salvaging any usable components from the ship. We'll need materials for the lab, for the organisms, for everything. Aye, Captain, Rex replied, his voice still laced with skepticism but now tinged with a grudging respect. The crew began to disperse, their initial apprehension replaced by a sense of purpose, a shared belief in Zara's vision. They were about to embark on a radical experiment, a journey into the unknown, a quest to breathe life back into a dead ship. As Zara watched her team begin their work, she felt a surge of excitement, a sense of anticipation. She knew that her plan was audacious, that it was fraught with risks, but she also knew that it was the only way to truly understand the Aethelred, to unlock its secrets, to make it fly again. They were going to create a symbiosis, a fusion of human ingenuity and alien technology, a testament to the power of adaptation, the resilience of life, and in doing so they would redefine the very meaning of ship design, forging a new path for humanity among the stars. The cavernous cargo bay of the Aethelred, once a bustling hub of Kryll activity, was now a makeshift laboratory, a testament to humanity's ability to adapt and innovate in the face of the unknown. The flickering emergency lights cast long dancing shadows across the salvaged equipment, the makeshift workstations, and the intricate network of wires and tubes that snaked across the floor. Dr. Jian Li, his eyes magnified by a high-powered microscope, leaned over a petri dish, his brow furrowed in concentration. The dish contained a sample of the Kryll's organic circuitry, a delicate network of tendrils and nodes pulsing with a faint ethereal glow. He was attempting to decipher the genetic code of this alien life form, to understand the intricate mechanisms that allowed it to function as a living circuit. Incredible, he muttered, his voice barely audible above the hum of the equipment. The complexity! It's beyond anything I've ever seen. He adjusted the microscope's focus revealing the intricate structure of the circuitry at a microscopic level. He saw the delicate tendrils, the pulsating nodes, the flow of energy that coursed through the network like a living current. He saw the potential, the possibilities, the chance to bridge the gap between human and alien life. "Jian, how's it coming along?" Zara asked, her voice echoing through the cargo bay. "Progressing, Captain," Jian replied, his eyes still fixed on the microscope. "The Kryll's genetic code is fascinating. It's not linear like ours, but more like a multidimensional web constantly adapting and evolving." "Can you create the symbiotic organisms?" Zara asked, her voice filled with a quiet urgency. "I believe so, Captain," Jian replied, his voice thoughtful. "But it will require a delicate balance. We need to create organisms that can interface with the Kryll's circuitry, that can repair and enhance it, but also that can coexist with it without causing any adverse reactions. We need them to be resilient," Zara said, her voice firm. "They'll be working in a hostile environment, exposed to radiation, extreme temperatures, and who knows what else." "Resilience is paramount," Jian agreed. "And we need them to be adaptable, to be able to evolve and respond to changes in the ship's systems." He turned to a holographic display where a 3D model of the symbiotic organism was slowly rotating. It was a small segmented creature with delicate tendrils and a bioluminescent core. It resembled a cross between an insect and a plant, a testament to Jian's unique approach to genetic engineering. "I've designed them to secrete enzymes that can break down damaged tissue, to weave new connections, and to even enhance the circuitry's processing power," Jian explained, pointing to different sections of the model. "They'll be like microscopic repair drones working from the inside out." "They're beautiful," Zara said, her voice filled with a sense of wonder. "They're also incredibly complex," Jian said, his voice laced with a hint of apprehension. "We're essentially creating a living ecosystem within the ship's systems. We need to be careful to ensure that it remains balanced and stable." "We will be," Zara said, her voice firm. "We'll monitor them closely, make adjustments as needed. We'll learn as we go." "Speaking of learning," Rex's voice boomed from the other side of the cargo bay. "We've got a problem." Zara and Jian turned to see Rex standing beside a salvage console, his brow furrowed in concentration. "What is it, Rex?" Zara asked. "The ship's internal sensors are picking up some unusual activity," Rex said, his voice laced with a hint of unease. "Something moving deep within the ship's systems." "Moving?" Zara asked, her voice sharp. "What do you mean, moving?" "I don't know, Captain," Rex replied, shaking his head. "It's not a mechanical movement, not like a drone or a maintenance bot. It's more like a biological movement." "Biological?" Jian asked, his eyes wide with a mixture of fascination and apprehension. "Could it be the ship's organic systems reacting to our presence?" "Maybe," Rex said, his voice thoughtful. "Or maybe it's something else entirely, something we haven't encountered yet. We need to investigate," Zara said, her voice firm. "Rex, can you pinpoint the location of the activity?" "I'm trying, Captain," Rex replied, his fingers flying across the console. "But the readings are erratic. It's like whatever it is, it's moving through the ship's systems, bypassing our sensors." "Then we'll have to find it the old-fashioned way," Zara said, her voice resolute. "Jian, keep working on the organisms. Rex, gather the team. We're going on a hunt." The crew, armed with plasma cutters and sensor probes, fanned out through the ship, following the faint traces of the unknown activity. They moved through the labyrinthine corridors, their footsteps echoing in the silence, their senses heightened, their nerves on edge. They found nothing, no signs of life, no mechanical devices, no explanation for the erratic sensor readings. The ship remained silent, its secrets hidden, its mysteries deepening. "It's like chasing a ghost," Rex muttered, his voice laced with frustration. "We're not finding anything." "Keep looking," Zara said, her voice firm. "Whatever it is, it's here, and we're going to find it." They continued their search, their determination fueled by a sense of unease, a feeling that they were being watched, that they were intruding on something ancient and powerful. Finally, they reached a section of the ship that was heavily damaged, its corridors twisted and collapsed, its walls scarred and blackened. They found a small hidden chamber, its entrance concealed behind a collapsed bulkhead. Inside, they found a network of organic tendrils pulsing with a faint bioluminescent glow. "This is it," Jian said, his voice filled with a mixture of fascination and apprehension. "This is where the activity is originating." He approached the tendrils, his sensor probe extended, his eyes wide with wonder. "It's incredible," he muttered. It's like a living network, a neural system connected to the ship's main circuitry. What is it? Zara asked, her voice sharp. I'm not sure, Captain, Jian replied, his voice thoughtful. It could be a remnant of the KRYLL's original design, a hidden system, a failsafe, or it could be something else entirely, something that has evolved, adapted, become something new. Something dangerous? Rex asked, his voice laced with a hint of unease. Potentially, Jian replied. We need to analyze it to understand its function, its purpose. He turned to Zara, his eyes filled with a sense of urgency. Captain, we need to take a sample, we need to understand what this is. Do it, Zara said, her voice firm. Jian carefully extracted a small sample of the tendrils, placing it in a containment unit. He then sealed the chamber, leaving the rest of the network undisturbed. We'll analyze this back in the lab, he said, his voice thoughtful. We'll unravel its secrets. As they made their way back to the cargo bay, Zara's mind raced with possibilities. What had they found? A hidden system? A biological weapon? A sentient entity? The Aethelred was proving to be more than just a broken ship. It was a mystery, a puzzle, a challenge. Back in the lab, Jian began his analysis of the sample, his eyes glued to the microscope, his mind filled with questions. He saw the intricate structure of the tendrils, the flow of energy, the complex network of proteins and enzymes. He saw the potential, the possibilities, the chance to understand the KRYLL's technology to bridge the gap between human and alien life. As he worked, he couldn't shake the feeling that they had stumbled upon something significant, something that could change everything. The Aethelred was more than just a ship, it was a living archive, a testament to the KRYLL's ambition, their hubris, their ultimate failure, and now it was in their hands, a chance to learn from their mistakes, to forge a new path for humanity among the stars. The hum of the Aethelred's makeshift laboratory had become a constant, a rhythmic pulse that permeated the ship's cargo bay. Days and nights blurred into a continuous cycle of observation, experimentation, and refinement, as Jianli and his team worked tirelessly to perfect the symbiotic organisms. The air was thick with the scent of nutrient solutions, the tang of ozone from the sterilization equipment, and the faint metallic aroma of the ship itself. Jian, his eyes bloodshot but his focus unwavering, meticulously monitored the bioreactors, adjusting nutrient levels, temperature, and light cycles to optimize the growth and development of the symbiotes. He was a conductor orchestrating a symphony of biological processes, ensuring that each organism was perfectly calibrated to fulfill its intended role. The initial growth rate is exceeding expectations, he reported to Zara, his voice hoarse but laced with a quiet satisfaction. The organisms are demonstrating a remarkable adaptability, responding to subtle changes in their environment with surprising efficiency. That's encouraging, Zara replied, her eyes scanning the holographic displays that monitored the organism's vital signs. But can they withstand the stresses of the Aethelred systems? Preliminary tests suggest they can, Jian said, his voice thoughtful. We've subjected them to extreme temperatures, radiation levels, and even simulated electrical surges. They've proven remarkably resilient. He pointed to a series of graphs on the display showing the organism's metabolic activity and cellular integrity under various stress conditions. Observe the enzyme production, he said, highlighting a specific data point. They're capable of producing a wide range of enzymes tailored to break down specific types of damaged tissue and weave new connections. And the neural interface? Zara asked, her voice sharp. Can they effectively integrate with the KRYLL's organic circuitry? That's where the real challenge lies, Jian admitted, his voice laced with a hint of apprehension. The KRYLL's circuitry is incredibly complex, a multidimensional network that defies human understanding. We're essentially trying to create a bridge between two alien languages. He activated a holographic simulation showing the symbiotes interacting with a magnified view of the KRYLL's circuitry. The organisms, their tendrils extending like delicate fingers, moved along the circuitry, their bioluminescent cores pulsing in sync with the flow of energy. We've identified key proteins and enzymes that facilitate the KRYLL's neural signaling, Jian explained, pointing to specific structures on the display. We've then engineered our organisms to produce complementary proteins and enzymes, allowing them to interface with the circuitry at a molecular level. But can they interpret the signals? Zara asked, her voice filled with a quiet urgency. Can they understand the ship's commands, its data streams? That's what we're still trying to determine, Jian replied, his voice thoughtful. We've developed a series of algorithms to translate the Kryl's neural signals into a format that our organisms can understand, but it's a complex process requiring constant refinement. He pointed to a section of the simulation where the symbiotes were attempting to transmit a signal through the Kryl's circuitry. Observe the signal transmission, he said. It's fragmented, there's interference, a loss of data. We need to refine the algorithms, Zara said, her voice firm. We need to ensure a seamless communication between the organisms and the ship's systems. Agreed, Jian said, his voice laced with determination. We'll continue to refine the algorithms to optimize the signal transmission. We'll also need to monitor the organisms' behavior closely to ensure they're responding correctly to the ship's commands. The team worked tirelessly, refining the organism's genetic code, optimizing the algorithms, and conducting rigorous simulations to test their performance. They encountered numerous setbacks, moments of frustration and doubt, but they persevered, driven by a shared belief in the potential of their work. One particularly challenging issue arose when they attempted to integrate the organisms with a section of heavily damaged circuitry. The organisms, initially successful in repairing the physical damage, began to exhibit erratic behavior, transmitting conflicting signals and disrupting the ship's systems. It's as if they're overwhelmed, Jian reported, his voice laced with concern. The damaged circuitry is emitting a chaotic stream of signals, confusing the organism's neural pathways. We need to isolate the damaged section, Zara said, her voice sharp. We need to create a buffer, a protective layer that shields the organisms from the chaotic signals. That's a sound strategy, Jian agreed. We can engineer the organisms to secrete a specialized biofilm, a protective barrier that isolates the damaged circuitry. They modified the organism's genetic code, incorporating the ability to produce the biofilm. The modified organisms were then introduced into the damaged circuitry, where they successfully created the protective barrier, isolating the chaotic signals and restoring stability to the system. It's working, Rex exclaimed, his voice filled with relief. They're actually fixing it. Zara watched the holographic display, her mind racing with possibilities. The symbiotes were proving to be more than just repair drones. They were a living network, a self-repairing, self-sustaining system that could revolutionize ship design. We're going to create a living circuit, she said, her voice filled with a quiet determination. A symbiotic ecosystem within the ship's systems, a fusion of human ingenuity and alien technology. The successful deployment of the symbiotes in the damaged circuitry marked a significant milestone in their mission. It was a testament to their ingenuity, their perseverance, and their ability to overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges. With renewed confidence, they began to scale up their efforts, introducing the symbiotes into other sections of the Aethelred systems, targeting critical components such as the engine control systems, the navigation arrays, and the weapons platforms. The organisms worked tirelessly, repairing damaged circuits, enhancing signal transmission, and creating a living network that permeated the ship's systems. The Aethelred, once a broken relic, was now a living laboratory, a testament to the power of adaptation and the resilience of life. As the symbiotes integrated with the ship's systems, they began to exhibit a remarkable ability to learn and adapt. They were constantly analyzing the ship's data streams, identifying patterns, and optimizing their performance. They're evolving, Jian reported, his voice filled with awe. They're adapting to the ship's unique environment, becoming more efficient, more resilient. They're becoming part of the ship, Zara said, her voice thoughtful. They're weaving themselves into its very fabric, creating a symbiotic relationship that transcends mere repair. The symbiotic breakthrough was not just a technological achievement, it was a philosophical one. It challenged the conventional understanding of ship design, blurring the lines between technology and biology, creating a new paradigm for human interaction with the universe. The Aethelred, once a symbol of the Kryl's hubris, was now a testament to human ingenuity, a beacon of hope, a promise of a future where life and technology could coexist in harmony. The impossible was becoming reality, and the stars were within reach. The rhythmic hum of the Aethelred's revitalized systems was abruptly shattered by the piercing shriek of an alert klaxon. Red lights flashed, casting long distorted shadows across the cargo bay where Jianli and his team were meticulously monitoring the symbiotic organism's progress. Intruder alert! Rex's voice boomed over the comms, his tone laced with urgency. Multiple unidentified contacts approaching the ship, Zara, her hand instinctively reaching for her plasma pistol, raced to the bridge, her boots echoing on the metal grating. The bridge, once a desolate wasteland of shattered consoles and flickering displays, was now a bustling command center with holographic screens displaying sensor readings and tactical data. "What's the situation, Rex?" Zara demanded, her eyes scanning the tactical display. "Multiple contacts, Captain," Rex reported, his fingers flying across the console. "Small, fast-moving and heavily armed, they're closing in fast." The display showed a swarm of small metallic shapes moving with a relentless efficiency, their trajectories converging on the Aethelred. They were the Kryll Sentinels, automated guardians left behind by the Kryll program to protect the ship from any intrusion. Kryll Sentinels, Jianli said, his voice laced with apprehension. "They must have detected our activity. They're not happy about us tinkering with their precious ship." Rex muttered, his voice filled with a hint of sarcasm. "They're not programmed to be happy," Zara said, her voice sharp. "They're programmed to protect, and they're damn good at it." The Sentinels' sleek insectoid drones were armed with powerful energy weapons and equipped with advanced sensor systems. They moved with a synchronized precision, their movements fluid and deadly. "They're deploying energy shields," Rex reported, his voice laced with concern. "Our plasma weapons won't be effective. We need to find a weakness," Zara said, her eyes scanning the tactical display. "They're automated program. There must be a way to disrupt their systems. We could try overloading their energy shields," Jianli suggested, his voice thoughtful. "If we can generate a powerful enough electromagnetic pulse, we might be able to overload their circuitry. Worth a shot," Zara said. "Rex, can you modify the ship's energy conduits to generate an EMP?" "I can try, Captain," Rex replied, his fingers flying across the console. "But it'll take time and we're running out of it." The Sentinels were closing in, their energy weapons charging, their energy shields shimmering with a menacing glow. "They're locking on!" Rex shouted, his voice filled with urgency. "Brace for impact!" The Sentinels unleashed a barrage of energy blasts, their beams striking the Aethelred's hull with a deafening roar. The ship shuddered, its metal groaning under the onslaught. "Shields at 60%, Rex reported, his voice strained. "They're overloading." "We need to buy time," Zara said, her voice firm. "Jian, can you deploy the symbiotic organisms to reinforce the ship's hull?" "I can try, Captain," Jianli replied, his fingers flying across his console. "But it'll take time for them to reach the impact points." "We don't have time," Zara said, her voice sharp. "We need to engage them, distract them, give Jian a chance to deploy the organisms." "Understood, Captain," Rex said, his voice laced with determination. "I'll take the forward turrets." Rex raced to the forward gunnery station, his fingers flying across the controls. He activated the ship's defensive turrets, unleashing a barrage of plasma bolts at the approaching Sentinels. The turrets, salvaged from the Aethelred's own arsenal, were powerful, but they were no match for the Sentinels' energy shields. The plasma bolts struck the shields, dissipating harmlessly, leaving the Sentinels unscathed. "They're adapting!" Rex shouted, his voice filled with frustration. "They're shifting their shield frequencies to counteract our weapons." "We need to change tactics," Zara said, her voice sharp. "Jian, how's the EMP generator coming along?" "Almost ready, Captain," Jianli replied, his voice strained. "But we need to get closer to the Sentinels to maximize its effectiveness." "Then we'll get closer," Zara said, her voice firm. "Rex, take us and we'll use the ship as a battering ram." "Are you crazy, Captain?" Rex shouted, his voice laced with disbelief. "They'll tear us apart." "We don't have a choice," Zara said, her voice resolute. "We need to disrupt their systems, give Jian a chance to deploy the organisms." "Understood, Captain," Rex said, his voice laced with a grudging respect. "But you're buying me a drink after this." Rex maneuvered the Aethelred towards the Sentinels, its massive hull acting as a shield against their energy blasts. The Sentinels, caught off guard by the ship's aggressive maneuvers, shifted their focus, concentrating their fire on the approaching vessel. The ship shuddered under the relentless barrage, its shields flickering and failing, but Rex held his course, his eyes fixed on the Sentinels, his hands steady on the controls. "EMP generator ready!" Jianli shouted, his voice filled with triumph. "Activating now!" A powerful electromagnetic pulse erupted from the Aethelred, washing over the Sentinels, disrupting their systems, overloading their shields. The Sentinels, their movements erratic, their weapons malfunctioning, were momentarily disabled. "Now, Jian!" Zara shouted, her voice filled with urgency. "Deploy the organisms!" Jianli released the symbiotic organisms, deploying them through the ship's ventilation system. The organisms, their bioluminescent cores glowing brightly, swarmed over the sentinels, their tendrils weaving through the drone's damaged circuitry. The sentinels, their systems compromised, were unable to defend themselves. The organisms, acting as living repair drones, began to rewire the sentinels' circuitry, reprogramming their directives, turning them against their creators. The sentinels, their weapons now aimed at their own ranks, unleashed a barrage of energy blasts, decimating their former allies. The remaining sentinels, their systems overloaded, their programming corrupted, retreated, their mission a failure. "They're retreating!" Rex shouted, his voice filled with triumph. "We did it, Captain!" "Not yet," Zara said, her voice sharp. "They'll be back and they'll be better prepared. We need to reinforce our defenses." Jianli said, his voice thoughtful. "We need to find a way to permanently disable their systems. We need to understand their programming." Zara said, her voice firm. "We need to find their weakness, their Achilles heel." "Gem. That'll take time," Rex said, his voice laced with concern. "And we don't have much of it. Then we'll make time." Zara said, her voice resolute. "We'll analyze their systems, we'll study their tactics, we'll find a way to defeat them." The crew worked tirelessly, analyzing the salvaged Sentinel drones, studying their programming, searching for a vulnerability. They discovered that the Sentinel systems were interconnected, linked to a central command network. "If we can disrupt the command network," Jianli said, his voice thoughtful, "we can disable all the Sentinels. But how do we find the command network?" Rex asked, his voice laced with skepticism. "We follow the signal," Zara said, her voice sharp. "We trace the Sentinels' communication pathways, we find their source." The crew began to trace the Sentinels' communication signals, following the faint pulses of energy that emanated from the drones. They discovered that the signals were originating from a hidden chamber deep within the Aethelred systems. "It's a control center," Jianli said, his voice filled with a mixture of fascination and apprehension. "A central hub for the Sentinels' operations. Then we disable it," Zara said, her voice firm. "We cut off their head." The crew prepared for a final assault, arming themselves with plasma weapons and deploying the symbiotic organisms as a defensive perimeter. They moved through the ship's labyrinthine corridors, following the faint signals that led them to the control center. The control center, a vast chamber filled with humming consoles and flickering displays, was guarded by a swarm of sentinels. The sentinels, their weapons charged, their movements synchronized, awaited their intruders. "They're expecting us," Rex said, his voice laced with concern. "Then we'll give them a surprise," Zara said, her voice sharp. "Jian, deploy the organisms, we'll use them as a diversion." With the Kryll sentinels momentarily subdued, Zara and her crew focused their efforts on the final critical phase, the complete integration of the symbiotic organisms throughout the Aethelred systems. The cargo bay, once a makeshift lab, now resembled a biological control center, with Jianli and his team meticulously monitoring the organisms' progress. "The symbiotes are establishing a stable network across all primary systems," Jian reported, his voice filled with a mix of exhaustion and excitement. "They're repairing damaged circuits, enhancing signal pathways, and establishing a unified communication grid." Zara watched the holographic displays where intricate networks of bioluminescent lines pulsed with data flow representing the symbiotes' activity within the ship. The displays showed a symphony of biological processes, a harmonious integration of life and technology. "The engine control systems are responding," Rex announced from his console, his voice laced with awe. "Power levels are stabilizing and the void matter reactors are showing a more consistent output. Navigation arrays are online," another crew member reported. "Sensor data is clearer, more precise than anything we've seen before. Weapons platforms are calibrated and ready," a third crew member added. "Targeting systems are showing an increased accuracy." The Aethelred, once a broken husk, was coming to life, its systems humming with a newfound vitality. The symbiotic organisms, acting as a living nervous system, were weaving themselves into the ship's very fabric, creating a seamless integration of biological and mechanical processes. "The ship is breathing," Jian murmured, his eyes wide with wonder. "It's like a living organism responding to our commands, adapting to its environment." Zara felt a surge of exhilaration, a sense of profound accomplishment. They had achieved the impossible, transforming a derelict warship into a living vessel, a testament to human ingenuity and the power of symbiosis. "We need to test the ship's capabilities," she declared, her voice filled with a quiet determination. "We need to see what it can do." "Agreed," Rex said, his voice laced with enthusiasm. "Let's take her for a spin." The crew prepared for the test flight, running diagnostics, calibrating systems, and ensuring that all components were functioning optimally. They moved with a newfound confidence, a shared belief in the ship's capabilities. "All systems green," Rex announced from the pilot's chair. "Ready for launch, Captain." Zara nodded, her eyes fixed on the viewport where the crimson dust of Xylos Prime swirled around the ship. "Launch sequence initiated," she commanded. The Aethelred shuddered slightly as its engines ignited the void matter reactors, unleashing a controlled surge of power. The ship lifted off the ground, its massive hull gliding effortlessly through the thin atmosphere. Rex maneuvered the ship through a series of test maneuvers, pushing it to its limits, testing its speed, agility, and responsiveness. The Aethelred responded with a fluid grace, its movements precise and powerful. "She handles like a dream," Rex exclaimed, his voice filled with admiration. "It's like she's reading my mind. The symbiotic organisms are enhancing the ship's neural interface," Jian explained. "They're creating a direct link between the pilot and the ship's systems, allowing for intuitive control." Zara watched the holographic displays where the ship's performance data streamed in real time. She saw the seamless integration of biological and mechanical systems, the harmonious interplay of life and technology. "Let's test the weapons platforms," she commanded. Rex engaged the weapons systems, targeting a series of derelict Kryll drones scattered across the landscape. The Aethelred's energy weapons unleashed a barrage of precise energy blasts, obliterating the drones with pinpoint accuracy. "Targeting systems are exceptional," Rex reported, his voice filled with awe. "The ship's sensors are providing unparalleled target acquisition and tracking. Defense systems are also performing optimally," another crew member added. "Energy shields are holding strong against simulated attacks." The Aethelred was a marvel of engineering, a testament to the power of symbiosis. It was more than just a ship, it was a living entity, a fusion of human ingenuity and alien technology. "We've done it," Zara said, her voice filled with a quiet satisfaction. "We've brought the Aethelred back to life, and we've made it better than ever," Jian added, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "We've created a living ship, a testament to the power of adaptation and the resilience of life." The crews celebrated their accomplishment, their voices filled with joy and relief. They had faced numerous challenges, overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles, and emerged victorious. As the Aethelred soared through the skies of Xylos Prime, Zara gazed out at the desolate landscape, her mind filled with a sense of wonder. They had transformed a graveyard of dreams into a beacon of hope, a symbol of human ingenuity and the boundless potential of life. The ship, once a symbol of the Kryl's hubris, was now a testament to human resilience, a promise of a future where life and technology could coexist in harmony. The Aethelred was alive, and it was ready to explore the stars. In the aftermath of the Aethelred's successful revitalization, word of its capabilities spread, leading to a tense but hopeful encounter with a Kryll delegation who, initially skeptical, were rendered speechless by the ship's seamless blend of their advanced technology and humanity's adaptive ingenuity. Zara, Jian, Rex, and the rest of the crew meticulously demonstrated the Aethelred's enhanced systems, showcasing the symbiotic organism's ability to repair and augment the ship's functions in real time. Its unparalleled sensor accuracy and its vastly improved maneuverability. The Kryll delegation, their rigid adherence to perfect non-adaptive systems, challenged, witnessed firsthand the power of Zara's adaptive engineering philosophy, witnessing the ship's ability to withstand simulated damage and self-repair with an efficiency their own technology could not match. The Aethelred, now a living testament to the potential of symbiotic integration, became a symbol of a new era of interspecies collaboration, a bridge between two vastly different technological approaches. The Kryll, recognizing the inherent value of adaptability, began to explore the potential of incorporating biological systems into their own designs, while humanity, emboldened by their success, embraced a new era of exploration, venturing further into the cosmos with the Aethelred as their vanguard. The ship, no longer a cursed relic, but a beacon of innovation, became a living laboratory, constantly evolving and adapting as the symbiotic organisms continued to enhance its systems, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. Zara and her crew, hailed as pioneers, continued their journey, exploring the uncharted territories of space, discovering new worlds and forging alliances with alien civilizations, all while carrying the legacy of the Aethelred, a ship that proved that even the most broken things could be reborn stronger and more resilient than ever before, a testament to the enduring spirit of human ingenuity and the boundless potential of life itself.